there's a romantic trope that somehow when you find your partner, you'll be complete, you'll be whole. You know, the Jerry Maguire thing about you complete me.
Yeah, you complete me, the famous line from Jerry Maguire.
Which sounds so romantic, but it's a trap. It's like, run away.
Right.
So the thing about it is for the ladies, I mean, it's true for the men too, but definitely for the ladies, is if you're looking to have a man show up in your life to make your life feel better, or to make your life complete, or to fix something you think is broken, it's an errant approach. Because what I want to remind those watching, and for all the women I work with as well, is you are whole, you are complete, you are amazing. And when you start to realize that you're absolutely whole and independent, you don't need anybody to make you feel better, then you have a relationship that adds to that, makes you actually feel even better, even though it's not meant to be that. You know, the way I would talk to one of my clients is almost like we run around where the battery is half depleted, thinking we're going to find somebody else going to make us feel whole again, recharge your batteries. Like in relationships, sometimes it's useful to have somebody step in to help you. But the reality is when you're on your own, you want to make sure you know how to fill up your own batteries to be fully self-sufficient. So when you meet somebody, you're not dragging from them. In fact, you're adding so they become very happy to be around you. And ideally, you meet somebody who does the same thing, so that when the two of you are together, it's all additive, which is actually the healthiest way to be in a relationship. So to really get clear about what it is you may be telling yourself that you're not feeling complete, or that you're like you want a 50-50 relationship, which is like the biggest crock I know of, which is nobody's 50% of anybody. We're all whole people. So can a relationship be half and half? It's whole. It's 50%, it's 100%, 100%. So own your part of the relationship, own your part being single to attract a relationship that is complete.
Yeah. And if you're really in that place where you have a rich, satisfying life and you're feeling, good, it doesn't mean everything has to be perfect, but you're feeling good about who you are and the direction you're heading in your life, then meeting and attracting someone that you would love to be with is more like the icing on the cake. It's not the cake itself, right?
Right.
And the problem is if you're attracting someone from that, like you said, half charge battery, you're also likely going to attract someone with a half charge battery who's wanting to get their other half filled up too. So then that doesn't work. Two half charge batteries, and they're both trying to suck energy from each other, and ooh, yikes. That's not going to work.
Yeah. And in fact, the two extra things to say on that is when you do fill up your own batteries first, and you're doing what you love, and you are fulfilling your fulfilled life, you become more attractive because you're radiant, you're abundant in energy, so it becomes more attractive. It also makes you more discerning, by the way. So you're not attracted to everything, just to what you really want. And then when you meet somebody, it's actually more of the, again, like equality. Like I said, if you're a 50% and you draw somebody at 50%, nobody's winning that one. But if you're fully fulfilled and enjoying and embracing your whole life, you meet somebody else, they're doing the same thing, then the relationship is just continually contribution towards each other versus pulling from each other. And yes, life does throw curveballs and stuff happens sometimes where you may feel depleted, but because you've been whole before, you know how to get back there, and your partner will help you get back there because they're already whole as well. And that's what I think a fulfilling and whole relationship should be about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think for women who are listening, if you're feeling like, oh boy, I'm not sure, my battery might be a little bit half empty, I may be kind of in that depleted state. Some of that often happens from operating so much in the masculine energy.
Yes.
And a certain amount of that, for women, I know it is. And a certain amount of that may have been necessary because you may not have had the option to rely upon someone else if you've been by yourself. So we have to look for ways to support our feminine energy, deeper levels of self-care, doing things that bring us joy, connecting with people that, that bring us up, that those passions, those interests, those things that make us happy, and maybe some downtime, maybe some relaxation, maybe a vacation, maybe a massage, whatever it is. I like for women to ask the question, what have I done for no other reason than just for the sheer joy of it? No, seriously, Barry, because you know what? How often do we do that? We can get structured and focused on tasks, some important and not so much, but like I know for myself, sometimes I can get this way where it's like I have to almost schedule in time for fun or relaxation or just doing something just for the sheer joy of it.
In fact, that's one of the things I recommend to my clients is to actually put yourself on your own calendar. because it's true. It's like that becomes the last thing you get around to if you have time. You're so busy doing for other people or for the life. So doing things, and I mean, I recommend, like I said, self-nurturing things like bubble baths, going to the spa, hanging out with your sisters, creating good sister friendships with other women will nurture you back in your feminine, and they recharge your batteries. Because the thing is, if you don't do those things, then you're going to start putting that weight on a possible date, which is not going to be healthy either. So for women, especially, to really restore your own fully charged experience, so to speak, comes from the place of really taking care of yourself. And one of the things that women have been really, unfortunately, gotten bad at the last several years is doing stuff like men do so many times, and they get burnt out and they're not taking care of themselves. So self-nurturing activities that, yes, must be on your calendar every day, not just once a week, are vital for your own self-support, self-esteem, and self-love. So yes, guaranteed, do that and your life will change.
And one other radical idea I want to throw out there that goes along with this conversation, because I love to hear your feedback on this too, Barry. So another thing that I find that works sometimes for me and for my clients is if things are feeling like a struggle, if dating's feeling like a struggle or life is feeling like a struggle or whatever, we can't always control or manage some of those challenges. And yet sometimes, again, asking a different question or looking at it from a different angle could be helpful. So what I do, for example, if I'm finding myself overwhelmed by a task or overwhelmed by something, and this can work in different areas of life, I'll ask myself, what would it look like for me to try easier?
I like that.
Because sometimes we're like, I got to try harder. I got to drive myself harder. I got to push myself harder, in so many areas of life. And so I'm like, what would it look like to try easier? So then that's another creative question where my mind can come up with ideas in terms of how could I do this in a way that feels easier, more natural, more comfortable, more graceful, more fun for me?
Yeah. What if it could be graceful? What if it could be easy? What if life could be a fun ride? Absolutely. Smart. That's the thing. Those questions are so powerful because they put you in the mind space to allow a positive answer. And then you find out what it can be. So it's, absolutely. That's a great way to start things up.
Yeah. Because if things are feeling like a struggle and you're just striving and it's depleting you and it's making you, dread it, like dating shouldn't feel like that. Love, dating, and relationships are supposed to be somewhat fun, right?
Yeah. Supposed to be
sometimes. And so it's like if I talk to someone and they're like, I hate online dating, or I hate this or whatever, that's not going to be an energy that's going to likely be very effective. And so it's like asking these creative questions.
Absolutely.
What would easier look like? What would more fun look like? What would doing something with joy look like for you? Whatever that is, exploring some of that can perhaps give some inspiration and a path forward if you're feeling stuck.
Absolutely. Perfect solution. Yeah, that is the way to do it.
Yeah, because life brings us enough things we don't really have to add to our own stack more on our own plates in terms of challenges and making things harder, right?
It's true. Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, for me, that's the biggest lesson, is to learn that life can be actually easier, not doesn't be harder. And because also, again, as you said earlier about how women were competing with the men in the marketplace, men kept doing things the hard way because that's the way men think. Women copied that. It's like, you don't have to. You can actually have more joy, more flow, and more grace when you simply find an easier way. Or I should say, when you ask for an easier way, because you're simply saying, there is an easier way. What is it? Show me. And then you get the result.